What if I told you there's an angle of rapport you may not have considered? The service mindset. When you're truly in service, you listen differently. Your attention sharpens, presence deepens. In that space, communication isn't about saying the right thing, it's about being fully present here. And when people feel that level of presence, trust forms naturally. Not forced, not performed, but felt. In a world where influence is often confused with visibility, service becomes the quiet differentiator, the thing that separates connection from the noise. Because real rapport isn't built by trying to be impressive, it's built by genuinely caring about the person in front of you. Join me on this journey as I speak with world-renowned speaker, author, and success coach Johnny Wimbrey, as he shares how leading from service, resilience, and belief can transform adversity into achievement and deeper connection, both on and offline. Welcome to the Digital Rapport Podcast, the show where we explore how connection, communication, and influence shape our digital world. Today we have Johnny Wimbrey, a world-renowned speaker, author, and success coach, known for transforming adversity into achievement and helping leaders elevate their impact. For 25 years, he has trained audiences around the globe with a message of resilience, belief, and unapologetic excellence. In this conversation, we will explore how rapport is built in today's digital environment, what drives a real transformation, and how leaders can communicate with greater authenticity and influence, both on and offline. Welcome, Johnny.
Hello, Jatinder. Thank you so much for having me.
It's amazing, man. But like with all guests, when we start this podcast, the first question I usually ask is, what does rapport mean to you?
Rapport means to me, my definition may be a little bit different, but rapport means to me is what I give to you, I'm going to give back. What you give to me, I'm going to give back. That creates a rapport. I'm offering something, I'm suggesting something, I'm bringing something into your life, and for a rapport, it should add to you, and in the same way, it should add to me because I'm adding to you.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing, man. I was just gonna share because I was doing the intro. I fumbled up my words, right? So I know you speak on amazing stages around the world. How do you overcome something like that? You're saying something, do you fumble the words, or what's the flow there, man?
I love it. I train speakers all over the world. I train professional communicators, television, whatever it is, and depending on what world you're participating in, sometimes, like I just told a speaker this the other day. I love the fact that it wasn't perfect. And the reason is I want to hear from real people who've really been through some things, that really have a passion to make a connection with people. And how can you make a connection if it's not real? So I love those real moments.
No, that's amazing, man. I wanted to, just, for people that might not know who Johnny is, share a bit about your background, man. Because I've known you for 20 years, probably. Like maybe that's the first time we interacted.
That blows my mind.
Let me share with the audience. Like Johnny used to come to the UK and he used to do loads of events. And I was at one of the events and he was on stage talking. And there was this one powerful line that has never left me when Johnny spoke on stage, right? And he said, if you got dreams, right? If people don't laugh at your dreams, they're not worth having. Right. And I just sat there and sank on my seat and thought, oh my goodness, like, wow. Right. Wow. So just please share a bit about your kind of background.
Thank you so much for that. First of all, I do a lot of interviews, around the globe, and when I'm doing it with somebody that is a friend, a business partner, we've done things together in the past on massive scales. It's just different for me. So it's like I'm talking to my brother. I cannot believe that we're looking at about 20 years. And when you say that I've been speaking for 25 years. If you saw my face when you said that, and I know that I have, but to hear someone else say it, I've always felt like I'm just getting started. And so here I am 50 years old, and I still feel like I'm just getting started. That feeling has never left me. And I don't really know how to explain it, but my earliest memory in life was living in a battered women's shelter. I wrote a book called From the Hood to Doing Good. And I know that regardless if you're in the UK or anywhere in the world, you understand what we mean when we say hood. I was raised around gangs and violence and drugs, and made a lot of bad decisions. My earliest memory in life was living in a battered women's shelter, like I said. And so, I participated. I participated in street activity. I have a brother who did 30 years in prison, and the only difference is I didn't get caught. When I was around, when I was a junior in high school, and for us, it should be 17. For me, it was eight. I was 18 years old, and I was at my friend's funeral. He was murdered by another friend. And the mother walks up to the casket and she says, "I forgive the young man who killed my son." And here I am sitting in a church with a gun because my friends and I were going to go get revenge after we paid respect. And when she said that, something activated inside of me. And I just basically made a decision that this is not the life that I want to live. If the mother had already found forgiveness, who am I to go seek revenge? And so I asked the preacher, the minister, to meet me outside, and I gave him my gun. And that was the day that what I would call, like Tony Robbins says, I participated in my own rescue. And from that day forward, I have been fighting even to this day to not just get past my past, but to maximize and break what I would call generational curses and prepare a life for my children's children. So I stand before you now, or I sit before you now, international best-selling author of the 5-time best-selling book, Building a Millionaire Mindset, forward done by Les Brown. This book right here is kind of the essence of the mindset that I'm in right now. I wrote this book kind of like a cheat sheet for my children. So if my kids wake up 5 years from now and they want to know, like, what is the mindset that daddy used to go from being homeless to, creating, a billion dollar, revenue business in over 100 countries around the world. What was the mindset? How did you dig yourself out of, from the bottom and continue to break through beyond the top? It's in the book. So I sit here before you now, Jatinder, still feeling like I'm just getting started, but I guess I'm the essence of the definition of our Creator's grace and mercy.
Yeah, I remember you sharing that story, Johnny. When that got me as well. I mean, when you were in the moment on that. Obviously, when you were speaking, we had a longer time frame hearing your conversation, right? And when you told me that story, bro, I was like, I just sank in my seat, thinking, wow, like it's inspiring. It's sad and happy at the same time. But to hear how someone's taken themselves from where they were to where you are now, kind of thing, like that's amazing in itself. And you're sharing that book. I read that book ages ago, when you just put it up, it brought back memories. And I'm thinking, oh, wow.
I remember. And you and I, we've written a book together.
That's right. Yeah, we co-authored together. That's in the multiple...
Probably on my shelf back there. I should have thought to get it.
I just thought that as well. we promote it afterwards.
Yeah. I'm all looking forward to it.
Definitely, man. So, I was just looking around. I haven't got it here. We just recently set up this room, and I was just like, Johnny's the first person we've got interviewing in this new office space.
Probably less than 5 feet away from me. I would just have to dig to find it because I've done several hundred titles. And if you tell me the title that you were in, like which one it was, I'll find it really fast.
As in Multiple Streams of Inspiration, Volume 2.
Volume 2
and 3, I think might have been in 3 as well.
Okay, I got 3 right here.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh man, this is it right here. Yep, this is it. Multiple Streams of Inspiration, Volume.
That's the word.
3.
John, talking about books, right? Like we talk about thought leadership, positioning, branding, communication, like putting yourself out there. You do a lot of stuff around books as well, right? Like, talk a bit about that, like how, someone who's a subject matter expert, someone who's wants to be the go-to person, basically. Like, why are books so important for them?
Well, for me is you got to realize where I've come from. When I wrote this book, From the Hood to Doing Good, I wrote this book as almost like an apology approach. And it was a marketing tool. And I, when I wrote it, I was talking to Les Brown, a few other people. And my argument to myself was, I've done millions. Even before I turned 25, And I've helped people become successful. I've built companies, even in the insurance world when I was doing traditional business. And I wanted to be the guy on stage, but I didn't want to just be the guy that's talking in prisons and schools and churches. Like I want to donate those times, but I also want to, be able to build a business as a professional speaker in the entrepreneurial world. And so I thought to myself, they're going to find out. They're going to find out that I'm an ex-drug dealer. They're going to find out that I had a felony arrest. They're going to find out, about the battered women show. They're going to find out all these things about me. So why don't I just tell them? And once I had that mindset, like I was maybe 22 years old, 21, 22 years old, I just basically, I'm gonna write this book as a glorified business card so if anybody ever says, well, have you researched who he is? Well, it's in my book. Have you read my book? So it was my way of creating a glorified business card to hand to people to justify that I'm not who I used to be and I'm willing to talk about it. So now fast forward, since around 2009, I have been helping people become published authors with the same mindset. How do you create a glorified business card? In my latest book, which is probably my best production ever, my latest book, and this is not me on the cover. I know I'm getting another person, so it's not me. My latest book, called Standing on the Shoulders of Giants, I literally feature the authors on their cover. So every author is on the cover of their book. And this young lady right here, she's a high profile attorney in Southern Florida. And so what I'm helping her become, she's already successful, and they're giants in their world. This is called multi-million-dollar producing giants, standing on the shoulders of multi-million-dollar producing giants. Well, she wants to be the go-to authority in her legal niche. And so now with this book, her book hit #1 bestseller. And now with her book, she's using her book to book herself. So how do you use a book to get booked? That's what I do. So I help people, elevate their visibility, and not just from their success, but helping them become a personality. She's booked 3 television shows. She's done so many things on an international scale. And and we're talking just in the last 6 months. And I just met her this time last year. It happens pretty fast.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, not a sales pitch or anything like that. Genuinely, to people out there, right? If there's something you want to get involved in, reach out to Johnny or reach out to me.
Absolutely.
Okay, connect you with Johnny, because seriously, It's not even a joke. I mean, I remember when we did our project, right? How many times I've been in a conversation or scenario sitting there and I'm just thinking, this person's not really taking me seriously, right? And I go,
pull that book out.
Right?
The glorified business card. It is the highest level of that says this person is not just who they say they are documented. You take the time out to write a book, and it just separates you from the masses. If I walk into a room and I walk in as with my book in my hand and I say, hey, nice to meet you. This is my gift to you, right? I just cut to the front of the line. I don't care if the person who came before me has made 10 times more money or had more success than I have. They don't have the documentation. So when you become a published author, you just kind of separate yourself from the masses and you cut to the front of the line. Not because you're better, not because you're more successful. It's because you took the time to show yourself that you're documented and you're serious about what you do. People do business with people who are serious about who they say they are.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like you said, the business card kind of element. I think it's useful for every thought leader out there, as one of their strategies that you can use both on and offline. Right, because it is about positioning. But it's like what you said about they've taken the time to do it. What I found is when I did the chapters and stuff, it helped you create clarity in your thoughts as well, right? And when that happens, magic happens, doesn't it? Like, share a bit about that.
It's funny you say that, because when I wrote my book, From the Hood to Doing Good, people say, like, how come you don't have notes when you speak? If I took notes up on the stage when I speak, I would screw the whole thing up. I've never formulated a speech before. And I just don't think that it would come out good if I did. And I know people who do, and they do it very well. That's just not my personality. When you write a book, it's inside you. So it's in me. So at any moment, you could bring up a subject and I can create a speech around it. Like right now, I can go 10 minutes live, like right now without stopping. But having the book, it's almost like having arsenal. So whatever subject you bring, I'm ready. It's like a soldier being, at war, being prepared. I can come out not because I'm well studied or I studied before the interview. It's in the book. It's in me.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. I mean, you know what you shared there about not scripting and just kind of talking.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely saying that I was inspired by your conversation. Les Brown used to come down to the UK back then as well.
Yeah.
Even he's your mentor, isn't it? Like he's taught you speaking
he
as
is
well.
the best. He is the absolute best communicator on the planet. Like I have never. I've been doing this for 25 years. I've been all over the world with Les. And if Les was live with us right now, he would say that I'm the number one speaker. He tells the entire world that Johnny Wimbrey is the next Les Brown. And I tell everybody there is no next Les Brown, obviously. His ability to effectively communicate his heart and his passion is just in a league of his own. I sent him a message the other day because I was just watching one of his videos, and it just hit me. Like I'm so grateful that I was able to live in the exact same era of when you live. Like we have to read about these legends, and I had firsthand access. And he messaged me back. He said, I'm crying right now, right?
Oh. Definitely, man. I mean, like the way you guys were doing it, that's what inspired me. Like when I was thinking about doing a podcast, for example, when I started it, I didn't want to do anything scripted. I thought I don't want to do. I just want to have genuine conversation. Just let it come out the way it comes out. If I mess up, who cares, right? It's not one of those kind of things.
It's funny because there are people who are very good at scripted. Like they're super good. I have an acting background. So I studied. I have a degree in acting and theater. That saved my life because it taught me how to find my own voice. But even with that, I've never even shared this. I don't think I've ever shared this with anybody in my life. I have dreams, and some people will call them nightmares, that I am on stage. I'm invited to do something more in the acting world, more in the scripting world. And I didn't rehearse. I didn't study. And I'm just on stage and I'm winging it and everybody's loving it. And I'm so afraid because you're on stage with other actors. The job is, acting is not acting. Acting is reacting. So if I give you a line, I'm feeding you to give me something back. So for the other actors, it's horrible for them because I'm not giving them what they need as a professional. And I have nightmares about that because I'm unscripted.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You had a little TV series out for a while as well, didn't you?
Sorry?
A TV series? We recorded something for it.
So we filmed it's funny, this is my production company. It's called 360 Films. We have a movie that just came out 2 years ago, and it's called Summer of Violence. But if you go back in time, I was invited to film a television pilot here in America. Montel Williams was a big television show, kind of like on the level of an Oprah Winfrey, and Montel Williams was coming off the air around 2006, 2007. So they brought me in. We filmed a pilot, and with the hopes of getting that show picked up, I moved to Los Angeles with my family, and they ended up going with Wendy Williams. And I just basically told them, I can never give you that. That's not who I am. So one thing about the entertainment world, you got to be who they want you to be, and I am never who somebody else wants me to be. I'm who I want to be.
No, I know that. Definitely, man.
I'm not for sale.
Keep shining on that. Seriously, Johnny. You are an inspiration, man. I see you a bit of like a mentor as well, because I did in those early years, learn a lot when we were involved in a company back there related to personal development. And so, anytime you said, read this book, do this, I was doing it, man. I was on it.
Yeah. I think that you're one of the very few people that has participated in so many things in the last 20 years that I've been a part of. And I just kind of feel like, if I had a round table of disciples, you would definitely be at the head of that table.
I'll be on it, man. Even create one. Let's go.
Don't give me a job. You create it. I'll show up.
Definitely, man. So, and for anyone that's listening, like we just in terms of like the books, say they're wanting to do something, like what advice would you give them? Because at the end of the day, it's about getting their message out, being real and who they are, how they share their message. What would you say about that?
You know, the large majority of our population has what it takes to write a book because it doesn't matter if it's a story of overcoming adversity. It doesn't matter if it's a story of, rags to riches or a story of somebody who was born into massive wealth. It doesn't matter what the story is. Everyone has a story. So I help people pull the story out. And again, this comes from what Les Brown taught me. You can't see the picture when you're in the frame. So I pull people out of the frame and I interview them and I start pulling stories out of them because when you live something, you don't really realize that it's a story that somebody else can benefit from because this is my life. I lived it. Like this is just normal, right? No, it's not normal for other people. So one thing that I tell people just right out of the gate is you don't have to write a book to write a book. There are professionals that are out there that are qualified to pull stories out of you. And now with I mean, you can literally talk into an app for 30 days and it'll formulate a book for you. And I'm not saying that you still not you shouldn't have a human go through it that's the professional in the publishing world, but at least you're showing up with something. You're showing up with the manuscript. So I help people become published authors without having to take their foot off the gas. So someone I'm dealing with giants. I'm dealing with high profile people who are already successful that they know that they can write a book, but the chances of them actually slowing down to do it, it's probably 10% before they die. So I take that 90% opportunity for them and I just say, listen, my team's going to interview you. We're going to pull stories out of you. You go back to work and we will just, fix it in the air. And what I mean by that is like a 90-minute interview is enough for us to formulate a book. And then we will just call you from time to time, say, we want you to elaborate on this story. Tell me a little bit more. And the next thing they know, 6 months later, they're holding their book in their hand, a hardcover book that's a best-selling series. And now they get to put the stamp on the cover of their book. They are an author in a #1 best-selling series. So again, it's all about not having to slow these individuals down. They get to stay in production mode. They get to become the giant and stay the giant that they are without having to slow down and go through the mental. It's painful. Writing a book is painful.
That's right. Yeah, you're so true. I mean, even you allude to the AI side of it, even though AI is out there and people are like, oh yeah, AI.
Yeah.
I'm looking at everyone I know and thinking, well, how many of you that wanted a book have still not created one, even though AI is available to you? It's just people don't do it. Like content creation is a very, very interesting kind of thing, just like the commitment to it. And talk about content creation, like, share a bit about that. Like, we're in the digital space. Obviously, when you're in public, your live stages, that content can get recorded.
Yeah.
What kind of things are you working on doing in the digital space that can help others? Like,
I'm a friend of AI. I'm a friend of, anything that can help me formulate an idea quick, fast, and in a hurry. So I'm like this. Look, I've got to be authentic with who I am. I've got to be honest about, who I am from the inside out. It's just the essence of who I am. And if someone is using AI to become a different person, to become something that they're not, then you're going down the path of using a technology to be a lie. And you use AI to be more truthful of who you are. Because if I pull up ChatGPT right now and I say, I want to formulate a message based on my story. I want a 3-point message, 90 seconds, 3 points. And I want it to start with who I am, where I'm from. Your past doesn't have to determine your future, and where you come from doesn't have to dictate where you're going. That's all I have to say. My chat bot already knows who I am. They know me. I talk to it every day. So boom, it can formulate 3 points. Even though I'm not a scripted person, bullet points keep me on track, especially if I have a time limit. So if I have like a 3-minute time limit, all I need to know is I got to hit three points and boom, that's the delivery. That's authentically who I am. I'm not using AI to help me, develop a message that's not me. I'm using AI to help me stay in the parameters of a 90-second response on a live show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely, man. So, any tips on like story? You started talking about the story Like anyone who's listening to this podcast and they just might be feeling stuck with how do I actually put a story out? How do I put like any tips you could give to those people?
You know, you don't have to, Les Brown says this, you don't have to be great to get started, but you got to get started to become great. The journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, but you got to take that first bite, right? So someone who is stuck in their head and their head is slowing them down or holding them back, you just got to realize there are people out there that are qualified to help you make that and help you take that first step. I help people take the first step. Becoming an author is, you're helping people step into a world they've never participated in. And sometimes people have manuscripts that they don't even know what to do with. So it's okay to align with other individuals that are experts that have your best interest in heart, and they'll help you make that first step. I just, more than anything else is, if you don't get started, you're always going to be at the end of never getting started. How much longer do you want to have that problem?
That's an awesome tip. Is just start, just do something, right? Because a lot of people, I know this because we're working with people. They're afraid that if they put something out there, people are gonna see it and they might judge them. But the reality is, when you haven't created no content, if you put a video out there, how many people realistically are going to see that first video, right? Not a lot. Yeah. Not a lot. You haven't got the reach. You haven't put the content,
Everybody in your family.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're lucky.
That's right. So then if you put a video out there, do a bit more content, Right. As you get more and more content, you naturally just become better. I remember listening to, I can't remember who said it. It was a podcast I was listening to, and the guy said, when he started his podcast, he just wanted to, reach that target of 50 episodes or something. Right. Yeah. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to try that. I'm going to try like 50. Yeah. He said by the time he did 50 episodes, he said, I found my voice. And I thought, 100%. I'm going to try that. I'm going to do that. So I've done over 50 episodes, right? And it's helped me a lot, develop as a just conversation kind of thing. I haven't been speaking on stages or anything yet. That could be next. But, but yeah, it's, just that step. So you can say.
No, I mean, you think about the common sense of it. The common sense of anything that you do. If you brush your teeth 50 times, like it becomes natural. Like it's common sense. And just because you're stepping into a new area doesn't mean common sense doesn't apply. If you do 50 shows, especially in a short period of time, you are embarking upon a new level of expertise. And that's not just doing a show. That's going to the gym. That's like whatever it is. So you have to participate in where you say you want to go. And it's none of your business who likes it. It's literally none of your business.
Definitely. You're sharing a bit about that, Johnny. Share a moment where, you did something and it just, in terms of like content creation, whether it was on stage or whether it was online, you put something together and it just flopped. It didn't work. Like it didn't go the way you thought it was going to go.
Oh man, that's like 90%. You only need the 10% to work. It's the 90% is the practice. I started a podcast show called The Masters of Wealth, and I love it. And I had Grant Cardone on the show, and for me, it's, if I got to set the studio up, I got to set the microphone up, and I'm qualified to do it because I used to be an audio video specialist. So I understand, even I have a heart for that world, for production and development, but I'm not the guy that's going to come in and set up for an hour and still have the same energy to deliver and serve on the level that I'm called to serve. And I'm not the best at duplication in that world. Because if I can do it better than you, why am I hiring you? And so my brain will shut down and say, I haven't found the right person to help me do the show yet. And then, so that's an internal flop. It's an internal flop because if I know how to do it and all I need is, maybe technical help, and I'm frustrated because I've got to be the setup guy and the personality. And I don't push through it. I didn't do 50 episodes. I didn't. Um, and and my idea was, I need a set. I need to, develop, microphone. I got to get the best of the best, the best camera, whatever it is. And and I talk about it in my book, Building a Millionaire Mindset. It is preparing to prepare. And preparing to prepare is procrastination. Procrastination is the death of production. So I flopped because I was preparing to prepare. When you are passionate about doing something, don't prepare to prepare. Just get started. Just get started. It's the most amazing thing happens when you're in your lane. When you stay in your lane, things happen. It's when you get out of the lane, somebody else keeps going and takes what you were building because you got out of your lane. It's just stay in position.
Yeah.
Staying in position is the most important thing.
No, thank you for sharing that, Johnny, because there's so many people out there who just don't take the steps, right? Whatever fear comes up for whatever's going on and stuff. And I just wanted to like say that, look, even someone who's, amazing on stage and things like that, we all go, that's just something that we did or didn't do for whatever reason. Like there's no judgment. So people shouldn't worry about that kind of thing. But what you said there is amazing. Just do it, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the worst that can happen?
It's funny you said that. The actual video that I was watching with Les Brown, that was the subject. What's the worst that can happen? Well, you can die. And he said, okay, so that's the worst thing that happen is that you can die. So, okay, let's go.
Let's go.
We already know the worst thing that's going to happen. So if you never die, you've never got to the worst part of it. So if something flops and you're still alive, you still haven't got to the worst part. So once you tell yourself the worst thing that can happen and you go and that thing never happens, you're no longer focused on the obstacle, you're focused on the opportunity.
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. And you mentioned like preparing to prepare kind of thing.
Yeah.
What happened? How do you do that when you're on stage, or not do that when you're on stage?
It's it's better to be called and not prepared. Oh no, it's better to be prepared and not called than it is to be called and not prepared. I think that came from one of Les Brown's mentors. And so think about any game. I don't care if it's rugby. I don't care if it's cricket, American football, whatever it is, tennis, 95% is preparation. 5% is the game. Like that's when everybody comes out to see you, but most people don't think you're watching, probably the smallest part of their success is what you're watching. The greatest part of the success is what you didn't see when they were preparing for the game that the entire world is watching. So an athlete thinks different. An athlete, sometimes the game is the easiest part because it may be 90 minutes. Preparing is, 10,000 hours. Think about a track, like a track star. A friend of mine's an Olympic track star, and he prepares to run for 30 seconds. He spends hours, days, years to make it to the Olympics. To run for 30 seconds? Think about it.
Yeah.
30 seconds is what the public sees, and they're clapping. Wouldn't it make more sense if we were clapping to go see them practice?
Yeah.
Because that's when you see the hard work. That's when you see the tears. That's when you see the injuries and the recovery. So it's okay to understand that the world is not going to celebrate you while you're practicing. That's for you to do. You celebrate you while you're practicing, which is 95% of the game.
Wow, that's inspiration in itself there.
If you remember, I did not only an entire session on producers, instigators, and procrastinators. So you talk about the difference between producers, procrastinators, and instigators. So a producer understands that the world that's cheering for you, they're going to clap, but they can also be the same people that are booing. They, the same people that said, Messiah said, crucify him 3 days later. So they're going to love you in your great moments, and you got to be prepared for that. So that's why I feel like my greatest moments are when I'm preparing, when I'm sharpening the axe.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Share a bit more about, when you're on stage
Mhm.
and you're connecting with your audience, like what does that feel like? How does that happen? Like, what's the magic dynamics there?
Okay, so you got to realize I was trained by the best of the best. So when I'm on stage, you're seeing you're experiencing something that I don't know how to manufacture. I just know how to do it. And what I mean by that, a great speaker knows how to listen to the listening. So if I'm on stage and you've seen me do this, whether it's 20 people or 20,000, I am serving the listeners. So I'm listening to how they're listening. I'm listening to how they're responding. And it could be dead silence in the room, and I'm still listening to how they're listening. And that's how I serve. So I adjust my message based on the audience. I never, I'll say this, I do my best to never serve my agenda because I was trained by the best. I was trained by somebody who's a servant and he serves at such a high level. It's entertaining, but he's serving. So, number one, you got to listen to the listening. And then you also have to be able to speak to the audience that's inside the audience. This is very high level information, very high level. It may be too much, but when you understand that you are listening to the listening, and you're also speaking to the audience that's inside the audience. You've seen me do things where I can be speaking and I'll go talk to one person and I'll have a conversation with one person and they may not be on the front row. Maybe they may be in the middle of the auditorium or I'll just walk and I'll feel something. I'll feel the way that they're listening and I'll just stop and start serving that person. But while I'm serving that person, I'm serving everybody in the entire audience. It makes sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
It's like,
that's a high level gift. It's a high level training. And again, I was trained by the best of the best.
I think it might be some reference to rapport leaders in that kind of scenario, isn't it? Because when you
It
talk,
is
you look
100%
around,
rapport.
yeah, when you're listening to, when you're like looking around the room, there'll be some people that are more connected with you, and
Yeah,
then those people around them are connected to them a bit more. So when you talk to
absolutely.
those particular people, that's it's kind of
Yep.
almost, you know,
Yeah.
Jenny.
I'm borrowing this moment to pull everybody in.
Mm,
And so when I find that person that can help me create that moment, I'll serve them, but I'm really serving everybody.
yeah, as you're sharing that, there seems to be like an element of spirituality coming through there, you know.
Oh yeah. I don't think
Uh,
I could ever speak without being connected spiritually. I don't even know what that would feel like. And that's why
Share
I don't
share
think
a bit more
there'll
about
ever
that,
be
man.
there are some things that you just can't manufacture. There's some
Mm,
things that you can't reproduce. I can write a speech for you, but you can't connect the way I can connect. You could write a speech for me, but I can't connect to that speech the way you can connect to it.
mhm,
I've never had anybody write a speech for me. I wouldn't even know what that feels like. But for me, that connection is heart, it's soul, and it's spirit. And I know my assignment. My assignment is not to be an entertainer. My assignment is not to be, known as the best speaker in the world or the busiest speaker in the world. My assignment is to serve.
mhm,
So I've never felt obligated to be on stage every week. I've never been obligated to be feel obligated to be on stage every month. When it's my time to serve, I will serve. So there are times when I will be speaking and I haven't spoken for 90 days in front of a live audience. So that audience is going to get a version of Johnny that's just like, "Ugh." It's so much pent up within me, but I just don't feel obligated to entertain people based on my gift, but I always feel obligated to serve. So if I'm
mhm,
speaking to one person, I can give that person the same energy that I'm giving 20,000 people on stage. And it's
mhm,
not just an energy, it's a connection.
mhm,
It's a breakthrough. You know, when I came to London, um, man, I think Les Brown was actually there. I came to London. I'm sure you were in the room because it was the Hilton Metropole. And I remember speaking, and there were two young men. that actually came to a speaker's training with Les Brown. They actually came to America. And I would tell Les, like, why are people confessing things to me like they know me? He said, Johnny, because they trust you. Well, how can they trust me? They've only seen me from stage. Because you're authentically you. Like they know your heart. They can feel your heart. I have young men coming up to me and thank you so much, hugging me in tears, and they'll whisper something in my ear that they don't want anybody else to hear. And I'm like, what do I do with that? Like I've never been through that. I can't even relate to what you just told me. The pain. And you just forgave the person who inflicted that pain on you that you've been holding for 15, 20 years, and you're confessing it to me? I've never even met you. And that's how you know that, people can tell when you're authentic. And that's why we have to be very careful with our artificial intelligence, because authenticity creates change, and authenticity comes from humans.
No, definitely. Like one of the common threads I've come across, with people talking about rapport and stuff, is this idea of present. The more present you are in the moment, the deeper the connection. Do you want to add a bit more to that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's you can be here. I know that you're here. I can see you. I know you're here, but it doesn't mean you're present. It's totally different. I can be in a room and not be present. When you are present, you're walking with, like, you have an expectation. Like if you're not present, it just means you don't have an expectation. Maybe you have an agenda. My agenda is to get close to this person so they will like me and elevate me. That's an agenda. Well, if I want to serve that person, I'm going to listen, like, what gaps are they having that I'm qualified to serve? And that's the difference between being here and being present. Anybody can be here.
Yeah.
Definitely. You have to be intentional to be present.
Definitely. That was the other thing, intention. One of the people I interviewed once before, they were talking about setting the intention. Like, what is it that you're trying to do? And it's coming across quite clearly. I mean, even before we spoke, you used that word serving, which it's amazing. I mean, I just wish more people would think like that, because I share that with people. Say, like, don't think that you're doing this or that. Just serve people. Just serve them and be of service.
In a way that the way that it hits me more than anything else is, I don't serve to be seen, but I should be seen serving. There's a difference.
Yeah.
It's the intention. If I'm serving to be seen, I have a selfish agenda. And there are people that can benefit from that because you're serving. But when you are serving because it's who you are, you're going to be seen anyway. So I don't have to serve to be seen, but I definitely should be seen serving.
Definitely. But do you reckon it's probably this might be a bit of a deep question kind of thing, like, do you know that thing about identifying with yourself, or that this is coming from a place of service and the good intent behind it, versus, I suppose you could say, is greed and what the other stuff that would be. It's like you said, when you were saying about Les Brown saying, if you're in the pitch, you can't see the frame. It's like a lot of people potentially like that. They're in this kind of non-serving kind of frame, and they don't even realize that they're in that place. What would you say is could give you some insight, direction for anyone? Because you don't know what you don't know. Like, how could someone tap into that good intentional side of stuff versus where they're like messed up? It might be a weird question, but what do you say to that?
True character is who you are when nobody else is around. Like Johnny's true character is when the lights are out, when nobody can see me. And when I'm alone, I think about how I can serve people. I think about how I can, bring value into lives. If you're not having those thoughts when you're alone, then you got to question your motive. There are people who are massively successful financially, and they have no heart of serving, but they're really good. They have a great work ethic. I would much rather be the heart person than the bank account person. Because again, something Les Brown taught me. He told me one time, he said, Johnny, if you go for the heart, the pocketbook follows. If you just go for the pocketbook, you may get a one-time, opportunity to make money. But when you go for the heart, people will stay on your shelf like a shelf life. And I've just always been trained to go for the heart. Like I've been in atmospheres with some of the greatest speakers in the world. And I can see that they're not going for the heart. They're definitely going for the pocketbook. But it's not it's not a secret. Grant Cardone, I love Grant Cardone. I love his abilities. But if I were to say that Grant goes for the heart, I would be misleading you. Grant goes for the close. He goes for, like, his trophy is numbers. My trophies are transformation. My trophies are humanity. Like, a person becoming a better husband, a person, learning the art of serving. Well, you really can't, like, monetize serving.
True.
And those who do aren't serving. They're manipulating. But I'm only using Grant Cardone as an example because if we were live doing a show together, I would say, 90% of his message has to do with success and monetary, increase. And there's nothing wrong with that. And what's really great about it, he's authentic about it.
Yeah.
He's not acting. He's not acting like, he cares about, saving someone's life to get money. He doesn't even cross over into that world. He's all business. So I appreciate that. What I don't appreciate is when I see people manipulating people to get money. Those individuals, to me, there are people that I'll never share a stage with again. And if I do, I mean, I'm authentic on stage. I'm unscripted. So I don't share stages with certain people to protect them,
Right,
to protect them against me.
Yeah. No, it makes sense, man. It makes sense. One of the things you mentioned there was, you said you've had great teachers, great mentors that have guided you as well. That's quite important as well, because sometimes when you don't know, you learn from the mentor, the guide teaches you, right? Share a bit about that, man, because I think, like, having mentors is a good thing.
I talk about this in the book, Building a Millionaire Mindset. I have served my way to greatness. And there are times that I would, like, volunteer and serve at events, marriage conferences, leadership conferences. And I'm the guy that's, escorting people in. I'm the guy that's picking the speakers up from the airport. I'm the guy that's standing on the wall, and when they do their finger, like, I got to bring them some water. Like, I was that guy for years. And even after I was an author, I was that guy. So I don't want you to picture that this is before Johnny was on stage. This was during. So my agenda was, my goal, I just wanted to be around greatness. I wanted to learn from people. There are times, Jatinder, that I have served in weekend conferences that one time I thought I was going to have to go to the hospital and get IV because I was just so dehydrated. I could barely walk. I sat in my car. I was scared to drive. It had everything to do with, I just wanted to be close. I wanted to serve. And there are times when I couldn't afford to be in the room. There are times when I'm dressed up, I look good, but I won't even cross my legs because you'll see that I have a hole in my shoe. You got to be willing to serve. You got to take yourself out of the picture and serve. I've served at the absolute highest levels when I was at the lowest levels of my life. Serving gets you in proximity. Like, I had people call me and say, "Hey, Johnny, will you let me know what your next speaking engagement is? I would love to go with you, and I'll carry your bags. I'll serve you, and I want to give them that opportunity. Because that was me. I was the guy that we used to ask those questions, like, "Hey, your next speech, Les, I'll pay for my own flight. I'll pick you up. Whatever you need. I just want to be close to you." And I did that with several leaders that were in my life. I served my way into their inner circle. But the crazy thing is, I learned to only speak when being spoken to. I want you to think about Johnny Wimbrey, like me, the guy being the quietest person in the room for hours. It doesn't even sound like something I can do. But I was so hungry and afraid to speak because the people in the room were too great. I'm talking about incredibly great people.
Yeah,
Like the whole world would know who they are if I said their name.
You gotta be hungry.
You gotta be hungry. Herb your way into the inner circles. Swallow your pride. I don't see a lot of that anymore. I don't see a lot of people, young people, serving their way into circles.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Yeah.
That's definitely an interesting one, man.
Yeah.
Definitely an interesting
Yeah.
one. Oh wow, man. Yeah, there's like so much stuff that we could talk about and expand on and things like that, right?
Absolutely.
And no, I really appreciate you sharing as well because I don't know if I've asked you questions that you've probably not,
I love it.
I don't think that's the case. I'm sure you've
I
shared
love
them.
it off the cuff.
Yeah, definitely. That I learned that from you, man. Seriously, yeah, that's my thank you to you. That I'm
And that means you're a servant.
Oh,
That makes you a servant, for sure.
I appreciate that, man. And like any other tips you want to give to people in regards to like the speaking, the authorship, thought leadership, just generally, like anything that you want to get across that you wanted to share or anything like that.
Surround yourself around the thinking that outthinks you. And that's how you get faster to the top. It compresses time because you're no longer the victim of your own thinking. Like Johnny doesn't trust Johnny's thinking. Like Johnny can let Johnny down like very fast. But when I'm surrounded around greatness, scripture says, ancient writings and scripture says that in the multitude of counsel, there is safety. In the multitude of counsel, there is safety. I'm the type of person that likes to read things backwards and re-engineer it. So if in the multitude of counsel there is safety, that means that where people have no counsel, they're in danger. So I'm just smart enough to understand that I'm not smart enough to know everything. So I surround myself around the thinking that outthinks me. That's a Johnny Wimbrey quote. If you're going to give somebody credit for that, give it to me. I surround myself around the thinking that outthinks me. I'm humble enough to understand and to admit that the Johnny you see before you, whether on stage, on a podcast, on television, that Johnny is the combination in the formulation of many minds that are greater than me.
Wow.
At least in my eyes.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. That's yeah, definitely, man. That's that thing in it about standing on the shoulders of giants.
That's it.
Basically what it's alluding to.
Yeah, and that's a quote from Sir Isaac Newton. Sir Isaac Newton basically said, I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't have the ability to stand on the shoulders of giants, and that's how you pay your tribute. You don't take your trophies and the hand claps and the celebrations without understanding they're not clapping for you, Johnny. They're clapping for all the voices and all the giants' shoulders that you stood on and you learned from. That's who they're clapping for.
Yeah.
And that's why I've been very, very good at not getting caught up into my own celebrations. Because if you take the voices out of my life, you wouldn't be celebrating me anyway.
Wow, that's a testimony to the great mentors, man.
Yeah. I've had a lot of greatness. I'm, and that's one thing that I can say that, you know, God has put me in places of greatness, not to be seen, but just to be in the vicinity of the voices.
Mm,
And serving them is what really got me close. Pouring
mm,
their waters, tying their shoes.
mm,
Like Johnny tied someone's shoes.
mm,
Yes. I've escorted people through airports that, are on the phone carrying bags and, taking pictures with people and because they're celebrities and their shoes untied. And I'll just tie their shoe without even them saying anything
wow.
because I have to make their lives convenient. I'm there to serve. So it doesn't matter what I have to do. It's I gotta serve. And that's why when someone is serving me, it doesn't feel strange
Mm,
because I know what it feels like to be the one who's serving.
mm. Yeah, yeah, that's very humble, man.
Yeah.
Very humble.
I was just hungry, man. I was hungry and I wanted to get there fast. And
Yeah.
and, and in my mind, the whole world was against me.
Mm,
I got a felony arrest, which means I can't get a regular job. Like I
mm,
had so many odds that were against me. I was willing to play the game. And to me, everything was a game. Like I'm gonna serve. That's part of the game.
mm,
And when I say game, I'm not saying ill intention. It was a game for me, a good game, an authentic game. So it didn't come from a place of I have to do this. As though I get to do this. Like I
mm,
get to play basketball. I get to play baseball. Like it was that mindset. I get to serve this person. I was excited about it because I felt like I felt like it was a cheat code. I'm
mm,
gonna cheat and be in the room. I'm gonna be the fly on the wall that everybody else pays thousands of dollars or thousands of pounds or thousands of euros to be around these people, and I'm here for free. No, you're not there for free, Johnny. You're serving. But to
mm.
me, it was a game. I was like, I figured the code out.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Wow. Johnny,
And no, go.
no,
And I will say this. Let me do a caveat before we close out. I have never served in the capacity that took me backwards.
mm,
So you, and I do want to say this. There are people out there that we will celebrate. And if anyone ever pulls you down a lane of temptation or a lane that pulls you out of your purpose, that's not your mentor. You
mm,
are no longer serving. You are being manipulated. And I can say that any leader, and there have been some, any leader that once I identify manipulation, I'm gone. And I'm talking about powerful people. Any ill feelings, anything that doesn't feel right, when someone tells you or shows you who they are, you have to believe them. And if you choose to stick around to be a part because they're celebrities and you choose to stay close to them, that's your fault. You chose to stay in a zone that could take you backwards, that can destroy you from the inside out. For what? What does it profit a man to gain the entire world and lose his soul?
mm. Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Wow, Johnny. I mean, I could go on for hours, but I know I appreciate your time and everything like that.
Thank you.
If people want to reach out to you, what's the best thing for them to do?
Wimbrey.com. I'm at Wimbrey on all social media. I am right now, I'm interviewing authors. I'm looking for people, giants of their industry. I would say if you're successful in any world and you want to become a personality of that world, whether it's real estate, insurance, if you're a doctor, philosophy, whatever it is, I know how, and my team knows how to make you the go-to person, the elevated person in that industry to become a personality. And what happens is when you become a personality for an industry, you're basically becoming the goose that's laying the golden egg for your team. So when I'm not on television, when I'm not doing podcasts, when I'm not on stage, my team is like, why are you in the office? We need you going out to be in that personality because you're the person that causes the leads to come in. That's what I help people do. I help them become the lead generator and the public eye of their business. And it doesn't mean they're not doing their business anymore. It just means they're the personality of the industry they represent. And now they're the person on the morning show. They're the person that's being interviewed on television. They're the person that's making the phone ring back in the office.
Mm.
That means you're participating in your business at a much higher level.
Definitely, man. And that's the way to hack the AI, man.
Yeah. And that's and they can go to costarauthor.com for that. Costarauthor.com, fill out the form, set up an interview, no obligation, we'll interview you. And if we feel like there's a connection, we'll invite you to be in the book. If not, we'll advise you on where we think you should go. It's not for everybody, but anybody that I do business with, we're business partners. So your personality is now attached to my personality, so I have to protect myself too. Yeah. So I'm looking for people where our personalities jive and our personalities protect and our personalities elevate each other with no ill gain.
Wow. Thank you, Johnny. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man. Jatinder, I'm proud of you, man. Everything that you're doing. In my eyes, you're a giant. You're doing giant things. You're helping people. You're creating breakthrough. And I can tell people without wavering confidence, like extreme confidence, you are the message that you bring.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your service to our planet.
Oh, you too, man. You too, Johnny. And on that note, audience, hope you enjoyed that. And on that, thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend.